All right. Good morning, everybody. TG Watkins here. It is July 9th when I'm recording this. Welcome to everybody out there on the social medias. We got YouTube, Facebook, X, LinkedIn. Got basically everything covered. So there's definitely a lot of exciting things to cover this morning. We saw the market jump up and then it kind of came back down. So I think that was more of a fake out type of move. Nvidia just hit 4 trillion as far as the biggest company ever. So 4 trillion. So yeah, we got a lot of things to discuss and talk about out there. And I did want you guys to know that today or tomorrow, so I get all my days straight. I was just got back from being out of town. Tomorrow, for those of you who picked up, then signed up for the Moxie Indicator Trading Room, we're running some specials. We have over the next 3 months, we're going to be running all of these special classes. And so tomorrow is going to be the leverage ETF analysis plus the Moxie patterns. And you guys have been seeing, I'm sure, a whole lot how I made 2,060% on SOXL calls, but there's more to it than that. These leveraged ETFs have a little bit of extra information that I have learned that show us something that's coming up. And so I want to show you guys what's going on with that. And then also how we incorporate the Moxie patterns with these things. So if you guys are new to the Moxie indicator and anything, great time to come in. As I said, we are running a special. It's 197 somewhere here it is, 197 per month. We are doing this as a special so that you can only buy it monthly instead of quarterly. So if you guys are looking for kind of a lower commitment, this is the way to get in and kind of get your feet wet with the Moxie room and all that. And then next month we're going to be choosing the right stocks. We do actually have, I've known him for a while. His name is Brighter Side as far as the handle. He was in the Moxie room years ago and then kept seeing me on Facebook and X and all that kind of stuff and was emailing me and I'm like, hey, I think the stocks that you keep showing me, they're kind of not that great. I know they look like they have a lot of potential, but they're just not going anywhere. And you're missing out on all these other things that are really actually moving during this entire market run. And so since he then rejoined just a few weeks ago, and since I've been showing him, hey, this is the difference between a good stock and a not good stock, he said he's been making some pretty good money and definitely paid for the class and all that kind of stuff. Now, I don't know if I'm legal to say that, so please don't sue me. But basically, there is a difference between picking good stocks and picking bad stocks. And we have one particular person in particular who's come in and said, wow, you really opened my eyes and changed how I've seen this to be able to pick this stuff better. So we're going to talk about that next month. And then for the third month, we're going to be talking about long-term Moxie setups because, well, this market just made new all-time highs. And so it's time to look at the bigger picture. And especially for those of you who have longer-term trading accounts, want to catch something on the monthly and weekly basis, that's what we're going to be doing. Larry, anybody who is in the Moxie room is going to have access to all of these. So that's kind of why we're running the special, is because we're doing these 3 special breakout sessions in the Moxie room. So if you're here, you're good. And we'll just see you in the session tomorrow. It's going to be 30 minutes after the market close tomorrow. And yes, of course, everything is going to be recorded, but wanted to make sure you guys are interested in that. Again, special limited time offer. Come over to simplertrading.com/Moxie monthly. Okay, so got that out of the way, and let's talk about what's actually happening in the markets right now. Nvidia continues to be an absolute beast. We know that. And this is one of those things that I'm kind of wondering, sometimes the market likes to accomplish something before changing. And I've been seeing that I kind of look at the market and be like, wow, it is very strong. We know that, make new all-time highs, but also the market doesn't go up forever. And I've been looking at things and kind of based on my internals and other cues that I'm seeing, I'm getting a little bit concerned and cautious that this market's getting a little bit long in the tooth and it might need to take a little bit more of a break or a breather, dare I say pullback, I don't know. But I'm kind of looking at that and being like, okay, so are we going to pull back? And today, as far as the market jumping up, I'm wondering if it was really kind of pulled up by Nvidia, because at $164, Nvidia market cap reaches 4 trillion. And it was so close. It's up here like 160. It was so close that I just wonder if the market said, look, let's just do this and let's get it up there. Let's ring the bell. Let's actually tap that so that it can say, hey, we reached 4 trillion. And then you kind of wonder about the news, because then you get all this news out there like, oh my gosh, look at Nvidia, it's on fire, it hit 4 trillion, all this kind of stuff. And then that is how they then used marketing or news to liquidate their positions and sell into it. Now, of course, I can't say that yet. It's not confirmed. We don't know. It's just a hypothesis and a thought and something to look out for, because when you have such big positions like this and the big funds need to unwind them, they need some liquidity, and perhaps the news of Nvidia hitting some new all-time high and some big number like 4 trillion could be an opportunity to sell to some unsuspecting people. So that's one thought about that. And then if we look at the SPX, we did have a pretty good gap up this morning. Like, it really felt like a short squeeze. This thing jumped up again, maybe on kind of Nvidia and something else like that. And I do have a position that would benefit from the market pulling back. And so this was a little uncomfortable this morning, but because of my experience and seen this before, and because of the indicators and everything else that I'm looking at, first off, I said, look, this move this morning was just straight up. I can't do anything with that. I don't want to get out of my positions because I don't want to get out at the top. And, I just have to wait. I have to wait for it to do something because this was excessive. It was literally straight up this morning. That usually doesn't last. And so I was on the mic this morning with the Moxie crew and I said, yeah, let's just wait it out, see what happens. And if I didn't have such a big position already set on this deal, then I would have taken a day trade, because I was pretty sure that this thing was going to at least come back down a bit. And it did. In fact, one of our subscribers in the Moxie room said he made some pretty good change by doing that. I think he more followed what I was saying, and instead of doing what I was doing, because I was just kind of sitting here watching it. But yeah, selling a call credit spread up there would have worked. Maybe even buying a put, if you kind of got that right, that would have made some money because it went straight down. But basically, I look at that and I think that was a fake out move to the upside, which for now I'm going to say is going to be confirming my thought that this thing is going to keep coming down. Because when you get a fake out move like that, the fact, if it doesn't sustain to the upside, then it tends to go down. I think a topping pattern, topping situation. I think this might be a double top. The Moxie indicator on the 15-minute time frame is very, very far below zero and shows no signs of any bullishness. This is definitely not bullish. And so price should not be over the 15-minute 50. And so it's kind of like, well, that fake out move, let's see if there's more weakness. And what I'm looking for next is see if this thing can start to break down, whether it happens later today or maybe it needs tomorrow. I don't know. We do have FOMC today, so there might be something about that too. Now, let me step back. It's not FOMC meeting, it's FOMC minutes. Usually not a big deal. So I think the market's probably going to do whatever it's going to do, and those minutes will come out. Maybe it'll move it around a little bit, but for the most part, I think we should be expecting this thing to come down a bit. And in fact, as I'm looking at this, I'm kind of wondering, I think I might want to, we actually want to do something about this here. Might want to do another call credit spread, because I think this, what I'm looking for is I want to see price fail the 15-minute 50. And let me see if I kind of looking at this 62, we already have a 62.50. So let me see what a 62.45 would look like just for a zero DT. You guys might be able to experience this with me, for those of you out in the social medias. So, because I was waiting for this, I wanted to see, because we got that big move down. It came into support. I'm looking for it to bounce, and then I want to eventually see that bounce roll over to the downside. So let me look at this real quick. 50, what did I say? 60, 62.45. I'm just kind of pricing this out. I want to see if it's going to be where I want it yet. Yeah, not too bad. It's a little on the low side, $6 and change. And let me look at the internals real quick. Yeah, because this is the other thing. We can see that the order flow basically went negative. Slightly positive, slightly mixed, all that kind of stuff. But you can see that the advanced decline was pegged this morning to the upside because everything gapped up, and then it kind of sold off. And I think we're hitting a little bit of support, but I want to see that support run out, and I actually want to see this thing roll back over to the downside. So let's do, actually, if it's going to roll over to the downside, I think we can maybe look at 62.40. I mean, obviously we could even do more to the downside if this thing's really going to get going, but I just want to be a little conservative. Let me see 62.40. Sell that 40, 50, 60. Yeah, $8. Okay. That might be a little bit more what I'm looking for. So let me look at a couple other things real quick. But I think that's probably what I'm going to want to do. And let me see about, because IWM, this thing popped up, shouldn't be here. I think we're going to continue to see these things roll over at some point. Really, the question is it going to be today? And then if we look at the RSP, yeah, this is definitely confirming what I would be seeing as kind of the market coming down a little bit more. Yeah, this morning was just a kind of a fake out. So I'd like to see that. Of course, when you do day trades like this, you got to get them right. But yeah, I have a feeling that's what we're going to be seeing. So let me go put this on now. I think I'm at about the right spot. So let me go put this out. For those of you on the social medias, if you guys want to take it, that's up to you. Let's see, trade alert. And it's going to be SPX 0 DTE call credit spread. And it's going to be, let me get this over here. Copy and paste. And then let me just double check. Yeah. And it's going to go for about $8.40 or 50 cents. So let's get it, guys. Okay. So we'll kind of take a look at this. Again, if you guys are on the social medias and you're following along, you are going to have to handle this yourself because most likely I won't be on the mic to tell you when to exit, or if I'm wrong and we have to get out. So we'll kind of see about that. And through here, let me continue to market. I like to come back over here, look at the SPX here. And so there, I like to put marks on here so I can see where I do it. And what I'm looking at is that the market came down, found some support, not only because of that moving average, but you can see here yesterday's congestion area. And then we can get a little bit of a bounce like this. And eventually I think it's going to wear out and I want to see this thing come back down. So we'll see if I am correct about that and basically how high this might want to bounce before rolling over. Part of the reason I'm looking at that is we do have a downtrending 2-minute 50. So again, this is day trading, so we're down on some lower time frames. That's a downtrending 2-minute 50. It would be nice if that is resistance. And at least on the 5-minute, we have the 8 below the 21. So, fast moving average is below the slow moving average. Mox indicator is almost below 0. We'll see if that happens. And it'd be nice to see if this thing kind of comes down like this, bounces a little bit like that, and then if we kind of trend lower. And what I'm looking for is a confirmation to the downside in a more meaningful way, which would be price back below the 15-minute 50. And so, yeah, if that happens, then I think we're going to continue to see more downside in the market for the next few days. Basically, also what I look at is where we are here on the daily chart is just way too high up there. And so I want to see if we start coming down a little bit. Okay, so I will watch that on my other screen, see if I get my timing right about it, and whenever that starts to change. Okay, so yeah, for those of you on the social medias, you guys kind of got to see what I do out there, and fingers crossed that we get it right. All right, and then we can look at SMH. This is the ETF for the semiconductors. Again, it kind of got goosed a little bit by NVIDIA jumping up here, but you can see it came right back down. And so it's these kind of rejection tails, the fact that it came up and came back down, that's to me communicating that price didn't want to sustain up there and that it actually might start coming down. That might have been like come up there, oh, nobody wants it. Okay, we come back down. And that's why I'm kind of looking in this direction about some concern to the downside. The other thing I was going to show you guys, if we look at gamma, so let me make sure I'm on the right date. We're on the right date here. And you can see here, this is spot gamma. So for anybody who is not familiar with using gamma or GEX, this is kind of tells you where option flow is basically. And you can see we did start up here this morning, but then you can see we had a negative divergence. This is basically option order flow. And you can see, yep, negative divergence, and then you can see just rolled right back over. And that is what helped confirm that the market was going to be going down and through there. It is coming into some support. And you can see we're getting a little bit of a bounce. And eventually I want to see if this thing continues to to weaken and come down a little bit. So we'll give that some time to cook and incubate. And then if we look at this one, this is GexBot. This is another version of that kind of stuff that I like to look at. Now, this morning, it looks pretty straightforward, right? This is actually why I like it, because it's pretty clean. You can just see how much positive exposure and how much negative exposure. This morning, it was all green. So you can see that, yeah, okay, clearly everything wanted to go up. But now you can see it's almost 50-50. And so price is kind of right here, and it's going to have to decide where it wants to go. And I'm looking at this. The biggest node is 6260, which, where are we at? Yeah, we're at 6246. So I don't think that there's that much more to the upside, but 6235 is also down significant to the downside. And so what we're going to be looking for over the course of this morning is to see, does this start to shrink and does this start to grow? And that's what we're looking for, is if we want to see more negative gamma, because if this market's going to come down eventually, we want to see more negative gamma start to increase. And that's why I like the view that this has. And again, they use the same information, the same basic tool, but they display them in different ways. And that's why I like each of them for different things. Kind of a neat way to look at this. And then, yeah, we can come back over here. You know, yes, we're seeing a little bit of a move up, and then eventually we'll see if this comes down, or if I'm wrong, this continues to move up, and so does everything else. But I'm looking at this, and you can see that there's a large node down here, and that is where I'm looking for price to come back down to. And that's somewhere around, what, 6220, 6230, and right now we're at 6246. So that's why I'm looking at some downside drift for the market. So yeah, hope you guys out on the social medias enjoy something like that and kind of get a little insight into the tools that we use when day trading. All right. Well, gosh, boy, time flies when you're having fun. We are already there. Now, one other fun thing that we were talking about in the Moxie room, somebody said, hey, because I was talking about some dream I had. Somebody said, hey, if you were to dress up as a costume for the stock market, what would you dress up as? And so if you guys are interested, kind of go post it on my X page or Facebook or YouTube or something like that. Throw in something in the comments. I am going to probably make a post out of it because I thought it was hilarious. And I want to see what you guys come up with. We actually had some pretty good ideas in the Moxie room. All right. So as I wrap up, just remember tomorrow is going to be the first installment of these special breakout classes to kind of get your feet wet for the Moxie system, the Moxie indicator, and how I trade. So if you guys are new to Moxie or new to me, this is a really great, easy way, low commitment to come in, check it out, see what you think. I'm going to show you guys tomorrow about leverage ETFs, the special tricks and information that they have that normal stocks don't have, and then how we actually use the Moxie patterns and indicator and all that kind of stuff in order to set these things up. So it's going to be a pretty quick understanding of Moxie, leverage ETFs. And then next month, it's going to be about choosing the right stock. And then the month after that, it's going to be about long-term Moxie setups as well. And this market is pretty killer. It's a very, very bullish, strong market, making new all-time highs. And I think we're going to be pretty good for probably the next year or so. Of course, there will be ebbs and flows. That's kind of what we're trying to catch right now. And then just remember, if you are not in here, there is a special limited offer, $197 per month instead of per quarter. And you can come on over. So remember, simplertrading.com/Moxie monthly. Great, guys.